Hey, fourth graders. This is agreement of subject and verbs, part one, pages 231 to 232. All right. Before we begin, I want to ask you guys a question. Have you guys ever played a game that looks like this, matching card game, where you flip over a card and see what it reveals? This is a carrot card, so this person picks a different card. Let's say he picks this card, and it's also a carrot, so he gets 1 point because it matches. And let's say this person picked this card next, and he flips over this card, and it reveals watermelon, so he gets another point. Okay, so just like this game where you have to match cards together, you also need to match subjects and verbs together. All right, this is what I mean. Let me go over this. So, first important concept to know is that your subjects and verbs need to match. Okay, so it's just like that game where you match cards together, you also need to match subjects and verbs. This is what I mean. So if you have a singular, let's pick a different color. So if you have a singular subject, you have to match that with a singular verb. For example, example of a singular subject is boy, dog, and lady. Okay, so remember singular means one. One, all right? So one subject, one person, place, or thing. Subjects are nouns, okay? So one boy is a boy, one dog is written as dog, and one lady is lady, right? Examples of singular verbs are sings, it's a singular verb, runs, and is. These are examples of singular verbs. I'll go over um, what makes them singular later on. So just the opposite. If I have a plural subject, what do you think I need to match that up with? Okay, if I need to match singular subjects with singular verbs, then if I have a plural subject, I need to match that with a plural verb, right? Makes sense. For example of a plural verb can be, example of a plural subject. So when you think of plural, think more than one, okay? More than one. So more than one person, place, or thing. So more than one boy is written down as boys. More than one dog is dogs. More than one lady is ladies. Okay? This is all stuff that we've learned before. An example of a plural verb. So the plural form of sings is actually sing. The plural of runs is run. And the plural form of is are. Okay. This might be a little bit confusing. Let's go over some more examples of this. Move this down more. Okay, so let's make some sentences. So let's use a different color. Okay, so let's match up boy with sings. So I can say the boy sings well, right? Boy and sings. And I can say the dog runs fast. I can say the lady is late. Okay, so in these sentences, my subject matches with my verb. Okay, so I have a singular subject matches with a singular verb. All right, same thing here. Dog singular, runs singular, lady singular, is singular verb. do the same thing with plural. So let's switch it up. So instead of singular, let's talk about more than one. All right. So plural. The boys sing well, and the dogs run fast, or the ladies are late. Okay, so I matched up my plural subject with a plural verb. Okay, so plural subject, plural verb, plural subject dogs matches with my plural verb run. The plural ladies matches with my plural verb are. Okay, something you might notice. You guys notice anything about my plural verbs, my singular verbs? What's the difference between sings, runs, and sing and run? Yes, you might notice that in a singular verb you have an S, but in a plural verb there's no S at the end. So it's opposite, right? For a singular subject, you would not have an S at the end, but for a plural subject, more than one, you would add an S at the end to show that it is more than one, right? So it's kind of flipped around. Okay, so let's go over some more examples of some singular verbs and plural verbs. Some more examples. I'm gonna make a list here. Let's use try to pick a different color here. Okay, all right. So some more examples with singular. So singular verbs. We know that they start with, well, they're usually verbs with an S. Okay, sings, runs, those are singular verbs. So is the word was, has, is, does, and am. So these are all singular verbs, okay? So plural verbs. Plural verbs. There's a list of some plural verbs. We got verb minus S, okay? No S, right? Take away the S. Minus S makes it a plural verb. And also were, have, are, and do are plural verbs. If you're not sure whether a verb is plural or singular, just say it out loud, okay? When in doubt, say it out loud. So, for example, if I just pick a singular subject, boy. So, the boy was fast. Okay, so that makes sense, right? Can I say the boy were fast? No, does not make sense. So, if it doesn't make sense to you, then if the verb doesn't make sense to you, then you know that it is, you know, a plural. It works for a plural. So if you're using a single subject like boy, and you're saying it with a verb, it doesn't make sense. You know that the verb is a plural. So the boy have toys. That does not have. Does that make sense, right? The boy has toys. Makes more sense, right? So just say out loud. If it doesn't sound right to you, or it sounds correct, you know whether or not it's singular. It's singular or plural verb. Okay. All right. So yeah, you can just it just makes sense too. You don't say the boys were. So you don't say the boy were quick, or the boy have toys, or the boy are smart, or the boy do nothing. All right, this doesn't make sense, right? But if I say the boy was smart, the boy has toys, the boy is funny, or the boy does nothing, or the yeah, or I am yeah, smart, something like that, right? Okay. All right. So I need to tell you one more thing. All right. So there's an exception to this rule. So we know that we have to pair up plural subjects with plural verbs and singular subjects with singular verb. But there is a special rule to this. I'll call this the U exception. Let me get my brush out. the you exception. Oops, not exception. Exception. Okay. Exception means something that breaks the rules. So this is something. So the word "you" actually breaks the rule. Even though "you" is a singular subject, you have to match it with a plural noun. Okay. Even though "you" is singular, you have to match it with a plural verb. All right. For example, you can say, Noah, you are funny. Okay, so even though Noah, you is singular, am I using a singular verb? Is? No, right? So instead of is, I'm using a plural verb are here. Okay? So yeah, so even though you is singular, we have to use a plural are. So that is the one exception. Okay, Noah, you are funny. This makes sense too. You don't say Noah, you is funny, right? Singular verb. Yeah, that just sounds weird. Okay. Another example is Team Blue. Let's make it capital B. Team Blue. You have practice tonight. Team Blue, you have practice tonight. So you is a singular subject, but we're using a plural verb here, have. Have is plural, right? So even though we're using a singular subject, we're matching it with a plural verb. Remember, this is the one exception. It makes sense if you say out loud. You don't say, Team Blue, you has practice tonight, right? We don't use the singular form of have. Team Blue, you has practice tonight. That just sounds weird when you say out loud. Okay? So when in doubt, say out loud. Say out loud to yourself. If it sounds weird, you know you did something wrong. Just remember, for you, even though you is singular, a singular subject, you have to match it with a plural verb. All right? I know that's a lot to take in, but that's pretty much the lesson. Let me zoom out so you can see everything. So if you ever need, just to need a reference, I think this would be a good page. This would be a good screen to look at. All right. So let's look at our worksheet. Okay. So I gotta find a worksheet first. All right. Where is it? Okay. All right, here's our worksheet here. It says agreement of subject and verb. All right, think A. Write singular in the blank if the following subject and verbs are singular. Write plural PL if they are plural. All right, let's pick a different color here. Let's go black. Okay, so look at this. Students recite. So is this singular? Are the subjects and verbs here singular or are they plural? All right, so we know that students, it's plural for sure because it has an S at the end. Okay, and we know that recite is plural because remember, go back to our screen here. Verbs without an S are plurals, so we know that this is a plural. Okay, so just look at the list here that I made for you, and just compare it with what you see on the page. All right. Okay. So let's do another one. She says. Well, she is singular, doesn't have s at the end, right? And says is also singular because verbs that does have an s at the end are singular verbs. So we know this is singular. Okay. All right. I forgot to show you guys something on this page here. I found an anchor chart. Anchor chart is kind of like a poster. You know those posters that I made in the classroom. So I found a poster online, just to help you guys with, just matching singular subjects to singular verbs. Just important thing, right? Add s. If you're matching a singular subject with a singular verb, you need to add an s to the verb. For example, the dog barks at the cat. Plural subjects, you have to take away the verb. You have to take away the s letter in your plural verb. She wrote plural wrong here. Plural verb, right? The dogs bark at the cat. So no s. You see how they took away the s? Yeah. All right. It's kind of just to help you remember. Okay, let's go back to our worksheet. Okay. Next one, it says think B. On notebook paper, make the singular subjects and verbs and think A, plural. Make the plural one singular. Example, do the first one for you. Instead of students recite, they wrote students recite. So if you have room, you can actually just write it on the paper. You don't need to write it on a separate sheet of paper. Okay. So I need to write, but you definitely need to write smaller. I need to write smaller here. So students. Just put in parentheses and write students recites. Of course, if you need more space, you can always write it on a separate piece of paper. So yeah, so a lot of times, remember to change. It's easy to change subjects to a singular. Most of the time, you just take away the s, right? And to change the verb to a plural verb, sorry, to change the plural verb to a singular verb, you just need to add an s, okay, to it. So it becomes student recites. So this one, she says. So to make she plural, what's the plural form of she? Well, there's no like plural form of a group of women. You just say the word they, right? For both groups of boys and girls, you just say they. And for says, to make that plural, you just take away the s. Okay, say. So they say. So some of these subjects, you will actually need to change the word entirely. For example, he prays. So instead of saying he, same thing with she, right? Just write they. Okay. And for 14 also, instead of for people, to change people into singular, you would need to write a person. Okay. All right. Oh, let's do this one real quick. So people do. So people is plural. We know that do is also a plural verb. So this is a plural, right? Change it to singular. We change people to a singular, which is a person, and the plural form of do is does, right? Like a person does not, tell lies, right? Okay, so that's think B. Think C. Write yes in the blank if the following subjects and verbs agree. Write no if they do not agree. So you probably need to go back to my list here to help you with that. Pirates robs. So pirates is plural because it has an s at the end. Robs is singular because it has an s at the end. Okay, remember for verbs, if it has s at the end, it is a singular. It's the opposite of plural nouns. So, are these matching? No, right? Because I have a plural subject here matched with a singular verb here. This does not match. Okay, let's do another one. He and he don't. So he is a singular subject, And don't, if you remember, don't is do not, right? And do, if you look at my list here, is a plural verb. So again, I have a singular verb matched up with a plural. Sorry, I have a singular subject matched with a plural verb. So this is also no, right? It does not agree. We're looking for um, a singular subject with a singular verb and a plural subject with a plural verb. So let's do number 3, last one together. I singular, and are is plural, right? So again, this does not match again. All right, so let's look at my list here. This list here should help you. Okay, last one. Think D is saying it says on notebook paper rewrite correctly all the subjects and verbs. And think C that do not agree. Change the verb so that they will agree with the subject. All right, so you would need to look at all the answers that you wrote no to. So the first 3 I wrote no, and on if you have room here, you can just do it on here. So they want you to change the verb so that they will agree with the subject. So they want you just to change the verb, okay? So instead of saying pirates robs, how do I need to change the verb rob to make it plural? I would write pirates rob, right? So just remove the S. So pirates rob. For this one, he don't. So instead of saying he don't, how can I change the verb don't into a plural verb? It's our singular verb. So I'll write he. What's the singular form of do? Is does, right? So he doesn't. He doesn't. Okay. Put them in parentheses. All right. All right, yeah. So hopefully you guys understand that. I know it's a lot to take in, but I think if you just look at this, look at what I wrote here, this should help you guys in, doing the worksheet. Okay. All right. Take care.